today I am doing these colorful note tips that I think will help anyone that is starting off, again, with high school or middle school or even college or university. Now, one of the things you might want to know is that I do a very simple way of note taking. I do a title, a subtitle, and then I do key points for those subtitles. And then I do another subtitle and then another key points, which are more like bullet points. But they're very much the same, something that you would do, in school, probably the same way that you take notes. Right now I'm showing you what you're going to use. So you need just some colorful pens and, of course, your notebook spiral. And I'm using the Papermate Flare pens. I love them because they come multicolored. And they are fine tips, so you can do very fine writing, and they're still very colorful, of course. And I'm showing you my variety here. I love these pens. And we're going to get into it then. So first things first, I'm writing my title. Of course, this has nothing to do with basically my channel. I was just like, I'm going to put the plot of a story because it's easy and I can do subtitles for it very easily as well. And as you can see, I'm taking and going back with different pens. I kind of just chose whatever pen colors I wanted. And I like the blue pattern, so I grabbed the dark blue, the normal blue, and then the aqua blue or mint blue. And then I just kind of went at it. So I wrote my title as well as my subtitle. And then I also did a graphic. One of the things that helped me the most in school was graphic organizers. I think that I'm a visual person. So if you're a visual person, I would really recommend drawing out the things that you're looking at, especially when it comes to like science or math or reading or basically anything. If you don't even have to draw it, you can just get a little stencil or a little picture and then just post it onto your notebook. And then you can just draw little notes to it, making it significant for you. But I drew my plot line, and as you can see, I messed up. But it's okay because I can see that error. And I used alternating patterns so that one will stand out more than the other. And then I decided to start writing my notes. Now I put my visual up front so that I can see my visual because I'm a visual person. But of course, if you're not a visual person and you just write more and you understand better by writing, then of course just keep writing. Now I'm starting with my notes, and I added my subtitle, and then of course I made some key points with it. Now there's always a little space right before the bullet points or your notes when you do bullet points, and we're going to use this later, but I ended up doing the same thing. I used different colors to represent my subtitles, and then of course my bullet points. Another thing that you can do is just underline and make sure that you have things that you want to remember so that they're emphasized. So you can do like little bubbles or like a little cloud around things. It always helps when you're doing something like notes, because remember, they're for you and you're supposed to make them your own in your own way. So it always helps to make them more visually appealing for you and not for anybody else. Now I added a little example cloud because those are always the ways that I remembered things, with little examples of whatever I was doing. So I go in and fill this in later, but this is where it would go. And then I added on to my second, which is my climbing action. And then I did the same thing. I did a little bullet flower. It's not a bullet. And then I kept going, the same thing, to kind of keep the pattern going of my notes. Again, this is just the format that I use. You, of course, can use any format that you use. It doesn't really matter. It's up to you. And again, I followed with the same pattern. I did my subtitle in one specific color and then my bullet in another specific color. And of course, I added my little example box, and you can switch these up. You don't even have to put the little cloud thing. I kind of did a drop shadowed hanging, I don't know what you would call this, like a hanging paper. And I made a little shadow for it. And again, When you're in class, I know that sometimes this can be a little overwhelming, but you never know. You can always go back and draw these things in if you get like a printout of your notes. There's always a way to make them your own. Or you can rewrite them. I mean, that's up to you. I wouldn't rewrite them, though. That's just more work. But if you remember things like that better, then do you. And I just love doing this. Now, here I'm doing something else. One of the things that I hate about just taking notes in general is that they're very uniform. So I like to kind of change things up. So if I don't know a word, of course I know what evolve means, but just for the sake of this video, I didn't supposedly know. And I do this little, kind of like a talking bubble. And I moved it to the margin past the red or the pink line on my notebook. And I wrote the definition laterally, vertically down, so that if I do need a definition, then I can see it on that vertical side. And you can see I'm writing it and I'm putting def for definition. And this is good for like vocabulary that you want to have. And again, it's just my way of doing it because I like to fill up the space that's in my actual page. I don't like seeing any blank spaces. But you don't have to do this. This is absolutely optional. I can't talk today. It's a bad day for me. This is completely optional, but again, it always helps when you have your notes and then you just don't have to have another full vocabulary list. And this is more like high school and middle school, but again, there are some words that even in college and university you still have to learn, so it really does help. And then you can continue this downward. Now I'm moving back. I don't know what I'm doing now. Having a little spasm there. Oh yes, the little space that you create with your bullet and your example. I go back in and I create my ideas. Now, of course, this is more to do with the notes that I was taking because it's a plot of a story, so I'm going to create my idea for my exposition. But this can be the place where you can also put like mini notes. Like, this is something I need to remember. Important. You didn't get this right on your test or something like that. Basically, it can be either a place where you can kind of like brain dump something, or maybe you can put like little reminders on it. And I love doing this, especially when I'm doing reviews, because if I do like a pre-assessment or, you know, like a quiz to test myself, and then I go back into my notes, I'm like, okay, you didn't remember this, you didn't remember this, you didn't remember this. So I kind of can focus on the things that, you know, that I'm kind of not really good in. And it's always a good way to remind myself that, hey, this is something that you need to look over. And yeah, everything else is kind of simple and it's up to you. I kind of filled in everything else with little flowers and just made it cute and all to myself. You know, it's all my own work. So remember, you're not supposed to share your notes unless your friend asks you for them because they're absent or there's an emergency. You're supposed to do them for yourself. So don't be shy and try the things that you love. I know that this is very girly and very colorful, but that's just who I am, and I like to have all those things. But yes, so make sure that you go all out and have fun while you're writing notes, because that's what makes us remember things the most. But anyways, that's the video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And I will see you guys next Saturday. Bye.